welcome to the second series of the Marathon Medic podcast. My name's Amy and I'm a junior doctor and running coach based in London. This series is all about strong females, so I'll be chatting to women that I look up to with interesting stories and advice to share. Today I'm sitting down with Dr Laureen Jacquet. Lauren is a junior doctor as well as a qualified personal trainer and running coach. She's all about the power of a positive mindset and has a passion for health and wellness. Lauren shares her journey into running and coaching, as well as how she stays motivated and motivates others. So welcome to the podcast and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, I'm so excited.
Good, I think you're my most enthusiastic guest I've ever had. So hopefully that's infectious. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself just to start off?
Sure. So I'm Dr Laureen Jacquet and I'm also a junior doctor in London. I'm French, but I've been in the UK for so long, but I still have the accent, so hopefully people can understand me. And I'm a keen runner as well, and like you, I wear both hats of being a running coach and a junior doctor. So yeah, I'm quite excited to chat more about this.
That's exactly why you're here today. And how old were you when you came to the UK, and why did you move?
Well, interesting. I came when I was 18 for what I thought was maybe going to be some sort of gap year study, see how it goes, and then 15 years later, I'm still here.
And you had, I think, a less traditional route into medicine, didn't you?
Yes. So if I'm honest with you, I always had in mind to do medicine, but I was very insecure actually when I was a teenager. And the system, the way it works in France is everybody can sort of like go. So the first year is a common year for all the science subjects. So whether you want to become a pharmacist or a paramedic, it's the same first year. And everybody goes there. And then there's this national exam. And only at the end of the year, you know whether you're going to be accepted into medicine or not. I think they only take like 1,000 people or something like that. The success rate is like something so ridiculous, like maybe 5%. And I had heard some horror story, like because it's so competitive, how mean people could be, like ripping pages of books. Like most of these, like it's so intense that for most of it, you then need to go to like special tutoring groups and be accepted in these elite tutoring groups and things like that. And I have to be honest with you, like when I was 18, I was like, I can't do this. I didn't have the self-confidence to hack the competition. And I thought, okay, I'm still very interested in science. And I think if you want to do science and research, English is the language to do research. Yeah. So why not spend some time in England? So this way I can improve my English and still learn something. So I came to the UK to study biomedical sciences. And then at this point, like many people that do biomedical sciences, a lot of my cohort went into medicine at this point. And again, if I'm honest with you, I didn't have the confidence to do medicine. I was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do the competition of medicine. And also, I was debt-free.
Yeah.
Because when I did my degree, believe it or not, it was only £1,000 a year. That's how old I am.
That's crazy. If only
exactly. So I was also debt-free, and that was a massive thing, you know. So I was like, okay, what can I do? And I really love research. I'm not going to say I didn't. So I carried on to do a PhD, thinking I would just like get another degree, get paid, keep doing research. But this whole like I want to do medicine was still always at the back of my mind. And I was working on Huntington's disease and I was working with some clinicians and I was getting quite frustrated. I was like, I'm in the lab and I'm not with the patients. I want to be with the patients and talk to people. Like, I mean, I could talk to myself in the lab, but I was a bit like a crazy person rather than talking to myself rather than to talk to other people. So I still remember it was quite a defining moment in my life. One of my best friends from uni, from my first uni degree, I guess, was doing the same path as me actually, and also doing his PhD. And once we just looked at each other, I'm like, we're not happy, are we? Like we want to do medicine. And we decided to embark into this whole like let's apply to medical school together.
Okay.
So that was so cool to have a friend that also wanted to do this because we both face quite a lot of negativity, you know. It's like, oh my God, you're already doing PhD, such long studies. Why do you want to do medicine as well? So it was really good to have somebody else in the same boat. And we both applied 1 year and none of us got through. And so the second year, and then we again looked at each other and we're like, do you still want to do this? Yeah, I still want to do this. Okay. Let's go for round 2. So with my friend Darren, we were like, okay, let's apply for the second year, thinking a bit more strategically, looking at competition ratios, exams, what are we going to do for this? And then we both got through. So now we're both F2 doctors.
Excellent. So you both got through on the same...
Yeah, we both got through in the same year.
It's meant to be.
Having like a very like similar journey. And actually, he's also one of the one at uni who really pushed me to my whole running journey. So yeah, Darren has had a lot of influence in my life.
And what do you think you've gained actually from having those years out and doing something different and then coming to medicine a bit later on?
I personally think that medicine should be a graduate degree.
Yeah.
I actually think about this very strongly.
Like it is in, I think, America.
Yeah, like in America.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that you're just so young when you commit to medicine, and then you just don't know how long it is. You think it's the whole medical school process, but actually that's just a tiny bit of like you finishing like your training, because we've just been, you're an F1 and an F2, so that's 2 years after medical school, and then depending on your specialty training you can have another 10 years, and that's if you do it full time. It's so long, it's such a commitment.
It's funny how many people think that I graduated as a GP. I get asked that a lot. So they think like when you come out of medical school you're a GP, and
yes,
don't appreciate that actually that's at least another 5 years down the line. It's long, and I don't think it's something people should rush the process or rush into as well. I agree.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So tell me about your running journey and how all that all started.
So in France we do a lot of sports actually, and I don't know, maybe at least 3-4 hours a week when you're in high school, and I can't remember how the school before that is, primary school or whatnot, but you do a lot of sports, and you rotate each year, and then once you've done a bit of everything you can more or less choose what you want to do. So you do things like athletics or handball, basketball, swimming. And I realized I'm not that coordinated to do like basketball or handball or things like that. But I quite enjoy running, and I don't know, I would not really say I'm a natural runner, but I really enjoy sprinting.
Okay. So it's not something I hear many people say. It's like the worst bit for me.
Really, I love sprinting, like a good sprint or something like that. So whenever possible, I will always pick athleticism and running. And then I went to boarding school, and I remember on Wednesdays we were off and we were bored. We were so bored and we had nothing to do but studying. We were not really allowed to go outside or anything, but there was a running track. So with my friend Jess, we just on Wednesdays we tended to just like go running around the running track and just like chat. And then when I came to England and to uni, I was running but not really taking it that seriously. And I remember my ex-partner was a musician, and I could see how it was his real hobby, you know, like playing music, being in a band, spending some time doing this. And I remember saying to him, like, I don't have a hobby, like, I don't know, like, what can I do in my spare time? And he was like, well, you quite enjoy running, so why don't you take it a bit more seriously and that you spend some time and energy running? And I was like, oh yeah, cool, okay, I could do this a bit more a hobby and actually train, and then I would start running a bit more, like with my friend Darren, who would run already half marathons, while I was just running 10-15 minutes or something like that. And that's how I started running a bit more, because he kind of like planted this seed in me, like, why don't you use this as a hobby? And then I finished that degree, and then I moved to London. And I mean, there's so many runners in London, you know, and that's also where I realized, wow, this like people just go running.
And it's such a community as well. You tend to see the same faces.
Exactly. So I was like, cool, I could do that. And I was working in London Bridge, and the way I started, I guess everywhere I worked, I was almost starting a bit of casual running club. So I was working in a research lab, and at lunchtime I was like, okay, why don't we sort of like go running? And then we will start between London Bridge and Tower Bridge, and then keep increasing our distance one bridge at a time until we could run a lot more. So that was quite cool. And then same, I changed lab. I was more near Denmark at King's College London, and again I sort of like started a little like running club. So it's always been a bit about accountability, I find, and just like doing something different, getting to know people. And I'm not sure if you ever came across this documentary about, it was some American people, how people, when you're running, I guess you release some barriers and people can be a lot more honest. I don't know, you share more when you're running, you're doing this together. So it's always been quite cool. So yeah, that was like, so uni and then my working life. And then when I went to uni again, in medical school, I was in the southwest near Bristol. And it was impossible to stay with a gym because I was always changing hospital and city depending on my placement.
Yeah, I think, again, that's something that we just have to face, is that we're moving location all the time and our colleagues change.
Yeah.
Where we're going changes, our commute changes a lot. So
yeah,
I can imagine the Bristol spread is actually quite a wide area.
God. I was between Weston-super-Mare, Bath, Swindon, Cheltenham, Gloucester, impossible to have a gym membership. Nothing is flexible like that. However, running, you can do that anywhere. Yeah. There's a real flexibility with running. And another person has been very influential when I was in Bristol was actually my late friend Liv, who also did medicine as a graduate. And we realized that we were both going to run the Bristol half marathon after just starting medical school. I think one month after starting medical school. And then all the graduates, or most of them, came to cheer us on, and it was a great way to discover Bristol because I had just moved there like a few weeks prior. And then that's how I really made some friends and Liv. And Liv had been in Bristol for so long before, really knew it, and kind of had the same idea of like medics need something more specific. So there was a running club at Bristol University, but again, it did not fit what medical students needed because we move all the time. So we could not commit to a season of running, and it was quite expensive. We could not commit to track sessions. So we decided, okay, what we want to do is to empower medical students to learn how to run, because then they can do this regardless of where they go on placement. And at the time, London Athletics, or maybe not London Athletics, just Athletics England rather, were looking at promoting running. And Liv was so savvy, she managed to get us sponsored to become Life in Running. What is it? What is the...
Oh, Leader in Running Fitness.
That's it. Yeah. Leader in Running Fitness. So this way we could be insured to take medical students running, and then we organized a Couch to 5K, and we did it for free, so medical students could start running.
That's such an amazing story. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I think it is so important, because I think you can feel a bit lost when you get thrown out to these placements in sometimes God knows where with awful accommodation. To have something that you can, say to the person that you're just ending up in a flat with, let's pick up our shoes and go for a run.
Exactly.
How was it received? That sounds like a great idea.
It was super well received, actually. It's making me quite emotional to talk about that. It was very well received, and most of us, I think once a week, especially in the first few years of medicine, you have your afternoon for free. And people tended to come back to Bristol, so it was also a casual point where people would come back from their placement to Bristol to meet. And then went on placements. So when I was in Swindon, for instance, or in Bath, then I would be exactly like you said, let's pick up the running shoes and let's go running, And then because people were more empowered, you could have like little satellite, if you want, of people starting to run. So
many other universities would benefit from something like that.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, we didn't try to promote it or to do something with other universities, but it continued even after us, and we called it Bums on the Run. Bristol Uni Medical students.
Bums on the Run.
on the run.
And it's still going strong at the moment?
I'm not 100% sure how strong it is going. I know that there were a few years back. Sadly, Liv passed away 2 years ago, and she was a real force for the running club. And I think a lot kept going in her memory, but now I'm not sure if the new generations are necessarily doing that.
That's such a lovely story, and something so lovely for her to leave behind for medical school.
Yeah, it's a real legacy actually for the medical school. And then we actually became running coaches as well. Again, she managed to get a sponsor. So I owe her a lot actually to keep going to be doing this. She got a sponsor because, as you know, runners are prone to injury.
Yeah.
And Bristol is so hilly. You can't avoid a hill in Bristol.
So I'm actually from just outside of Bristol, and I do running here up hills, and then I go home, and my mum, she can power on up those hills because she's so used to it. And I'm just struggling. You're so right. It's a very hilly area.
It's really hilly, and I think that's another thing that we wanted. We also wanted to learn more, so we could show some exercises for runners to support their running. Actually, became quite passionate. Like, we don't want people to do random workouts from the internet that might not serve them, and then they get injured and then they can't run. So let's get ourselves qualified as running coaches, so we know a bit better. And then on my own, I then carried on to become a level 3 personal trainer, again in the idea, how can people support their running instead of like doing random workouts and then they get injured and then they can't do running.
And knowledge is power, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just knowing what you should and shouldn't do and how to start is so important, because I think that initial step of starting your running, if it goes wrong from day one, you're probably never going to get back onto it. But if you can start from a strong place,
and how to personalize it, like not just to your fitness but to your lifestyle, like some people are busy. If you look at the marathon training program, for instance, you will have some that say that you have to run every day, some that are like based on 3 runs a week, some with like just long runs, no speed, so I think it's also being able to cater it to the individual, so you can enjoy it.
Yeah, no, of course, and that's the main reason that most of us run, I think, is to enjoy and meet the people and socialise and things like that. So how do you manage running with your busy life? Because obviously you've just finished F2, everything that's been going on for the last few months, you must have been quite a busy person. So how do you kind of personalise your training and fitness to your life?
So I'm actually just getting back into it. So as I said, like my knee has not allowed me to run, so almost got upset with running. I was like, I can't run the way I want to. I can't run long distance because I really enjoy long distance. I really love the half marathon distance. Marathon, not so much. Somehow I did it twice, but it's painful.
Yeah, and it's a big commitment.
And it's a big time commitment. But the half marathon, you can, I don't want to disrespect the distance, but you can almost wing it if you have a certain base.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to necessarily alter your timetable so much, And I got so frustrated that I could not run the way I wanted because of my knee. And then I say because of my knee, but then because of my big fat ego as well.
At least you're being honest.
I'm being honest, because then I got so frustrated. I was like, I can't, like, why do I have to start from scratch? Because you know what, running, as amazing as it is, it's also super ungrateful. Like, you get to a distance and then you stop and then you're so out of breath and then you can barely run for 5 minutes. It's like, come on, I just stopped for 3 weeks. What are you doing to me? So a lot as well was my ego.
Yeah.
A lot of people that will have known me when I was running regularly, doing the running coaches and all, they know me as Lauren the runner. And they know me, how's marathon training going? Or which race are you doing? And to be able to, and to say like, I'm not running. I can't run right now. Or I can't run the way I want. I just could not. So I was like, I'm not running anymore. I'm just in the gym. I'm doing weight training, things like that, So for a few years I've had this relationship with running, that because I could not get past the way that I had lost so much of my running fitness, and then and because of my ego, when I was starting to run again, I would run too much and I would run too fast and I would injure myself again. And I was just trapped in this vicious circle. And then, as you quite pointed out, the time aspect, I kind of had it in mind, if I can't go running for 45 minutes, it's not worth it.
Yeah. It's so easy for our life to change and then expect all the other things in our life to catch up with it. And, our running is going to change as our life changes. And there'll probably be periods in the future where you have more time and you can commit more to it. But it's hard. You kind of think, I want to keep getting better and better and better. And life's not like that.
Yeah, because, overall running is super accessible. Somehow, and I don't know where it comes from, there are these like criteria of what makes a good runner. Why? I don't know how come it came in my mind when I was training for my first marathon that I had to do it under 4 hours. Where did this come from?
Yeah, it's just like a random number that...
Why?
Yeah.
when running the distance in itself is such an achievement, you know? And there's almost this like random time, and I got really trapped into that. So in my mind, running less than half an hour was not worth it. So if I could not carve half an hour, and then because again, ego, I'm being really honest, I have to warm up properly, and then I have to stretch properly, and then I have to foam roll properly. That's 1 hour. I don't have time to do this.
And then it's so easy to just
and then you just don't do it. So sometimes I think that perfection can be a form of paralysis and a form of procrastination. And I'm very guilty of this. If I could not have all the perfect conditions for my run and all the time to stretch and foam roll, I just would not do it.
And I guess as well, that's such an internal thing. It's you that's putting that pressure on. No one else cares if you run for 25 minutes or 15.
Who would care?
No
you're
one.
so right. Who would care? Nobody. And who would know?
Yeah.
Again, why do you have to put it on freaking Strava? Sorry. But you know.
No, it's so true. I think.
Why?
And also, I don't know about other people, but I can scroll a lot and not really pay too much attention to people. I'm more interested in their nice pictures.
Exactly.
So yeah, we need to kind of step back and think, why?
Yes.
Who cares?
So I think for the last couple of years, I've had a lot of like having to get over myself, basically. And I've only recently, I guess, done all this mindset work to put my ego aside and to start from scratch. So I'm doing the couch to 5K.
So how did you move from that kind of, oh my God, my ego, I can't go out, to thinking, actually, this is silly, enough's enough. I'm going to do my couch to 5K and
That's
be proud.
Almost like another podcast episode, you know. So I've been doing a lot of personal development, not just for the fitness, just for different aspects of my life. And I guess I've also been treating myself a bit like an avatar, you know, I don't know, like thinking these are all my excuses, but how would I help my client to get over this? And sort of like detaching myself from myself. That feels so strange.
Being a coach for yourself.
Yeah, I'm basically coaching myself. I'm basically being my own coach, and I enjoy being my own coach, so that's quite cool. A lot has been to find my why. I think it goes back to that, like, why do I want to run, actually? Because there's lots of sports. Why running? And really digging deep and keep looking at the different layers, you know, like an onion, just keep peeling this layer. Why do I actually want to go running? And part of it has been like realizing this is actually part of my identity, and by letting my ego and excuses get in the way, I'm actually not being that person that I enjoy being. I enjoy running, I enjoy the running community, I enjoy coaching people running, and I kind of wanted to Lauren back, the Lauren that really enjoys running and that meets people via that. This is how we connected, you know, via running. And that's been one thing. The second thing that I'm very passionate about is from a medical point of view. I realized that I was not meeting the minimum fitness requirement. So between the pandemic and not going anywhere and not going to the gym anymore, and even like not seeing patients face to face like we would, like I didn't realize like how much movements I do, even just getting up from my chair every 15 minutes to go get a patient from the waiting room. And now I'm not doing this because I'm just, you know, like video calling patients. I realized I was becoming really unfit. So part of it also became like from a health point of view. Yeah,
which is so important, isn't it? And there's this whole concept now of sitting disease and how all we do is sit down. And although exercise does counteract that a bit, we need to focus on actually just being a bit more active in the day. And it's so easy to get absorbed. If I'm on the computer, I will not get up until it's done. And that's actually really bad. And we need to think, actually, I need to move my body.
A term that I use with a lot of my patients is the term lifestyle prescription. You know, sometimes I have these conversations with them where I say, yes, taking a pill is easier than going for a walk and eating well and all. But long term, what is going to serve you, not just for that condition, but for others, is if you eat well, if you move your body, if you be mindful, if you're sleeping. And then I realized, who am I to give this advice and I'm not doing it myself? I felt like a real hypocrite. So that was also the second layer again. I think part of my identity, I was like, okay, there's my identity as a runner, but there's also my identity as a doctor promoting a healthy lifestyle, and I'm not being healthy. I need to find a way to show people or be the evidence that you can do it. I think it was more this. Because who am I to be saying to patients that are also busy,
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine once you have kids, I mean, that's a whole other layer of busy. Who am I to say to them, yes, go for a walk, it's easy, take half an hour, and then I don't do it? Who am I to give this advice?
It's so much easier to give advice
so much
than
easier.
to take your own advice.
Take my own advice. That's it. I had to take my own advice. And so part of this, then I just thought, okay, I just need, it's been a real mindset change. And again, and I guess this is where we're going a bit more into personal training, maybe where you need a bit of a personal trainer to do things with you. So again, peeling another layer. Why am I not going running? What's my barrier of going running? And digging through this, So there's been a whole, I'm running too fast and I'm running too much. Okay, how can I address this? Fine, let's go to the beginning, couch to 5K. Why? Okay, I'm busy. When am I most likely to go running? In the morning. I never know what time I finish work, or I might finish work on time, and then there's an accident on the road. The only thing that really belongs to me is my morning before work. Fine. I need to find the time. How do I do that? Get up half an hour earlier. How can I get up a half an hour earlier? And keep peeling the onion. Why do I snooze? I go to bed too late. Okay, let's address the sleep. So it's a whole approach and whole mindset and whole work that I've had to do and that I want to do with my clients to then be able to say, okay, now you can go running. Because in essence, yes, it's just you pick up your trainers and you go, but why don't people do it?
Yeah, you need to kind of prepare for all those excuses that are going to happen and think ahead. And your environment, I think, is so important. So when you wake up in the morning, I always have to have my stuff out ready, like literally the exact outfit, my running pouch with my bars in that I need, and everything's ready. So there's nothing that's going to slow me down and think, oh, I'm actually too late now. I can't do this.
Exactly.
Before work. Obviously, changing our lifestyle and changing our health behaviors is really difficult. And if everyone could stop smoking tomorrow, it'd be great. But it's so hard to change those things. When you're giving that advice to people and trying to make them more active, what are the things that you tend to advise, just as those baby steps to get in that right direction of taking up running or literally just taking up walking, even whatever it is to get them more active?
I think, and this is a bit the beauty in GP when you can have like continuity of care. People need to come to this own conclusion that is going to be good for them, because you're not going to be there. Yes, if for your clients as a coach, you're going to be there, yeah? But for your patients, you're not there. You're not here babysitting them, calling them 3 times a week, have you gone running? So they will have to come to that conclusion. But there are techniques, when you're a bit like interviewing, so they can a bit reflect, asking them, okay, what do you think you could do better? And people can come to this conclusion, but it might take more than one consultation.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it definitely is like planting the seed as the first step.
Planting the seed, which is why they say, regarding smoking, because we mentioned this, that you should just mention it to your patients, because if they've heard it maybe 7-10 times that different doctors say to them, oh, have you considered stopping smoking? Here's a smoking cessation program, then they will.
Yeah, no, it's so true. So I also follow you on Instagram, and I see every morning that you're up quite a bit earlier than me, which makes me feel bad.
No, don't.
I used to be so good at getting up early. I need to get back into it because I think it really does set your day up right. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I think you call them miracle mornings. So could you just explain a little bit about why you get up so early?
So I don't own the term miracle morning. There's an author, I can't remember his name, that basically kind of like found a principle that, especially nowadays with our phones actually just ask us to give attention to others. Emails are from other people, notifications from other people, and it's to really like in the morning just do something for yourself around the principles of like meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, exercising, things like this. And especially in the last few months, I realized, oh, hang on, I do want to go running. I probably need to wake up even earlier in order to fit in the running. Because again, it's just thinking about what are the excuses, what is stopping you. And when I was quite a bit younger, I could somehow roll out of bed, have a glass of water, and go running 5K. Honestly, I do not know how I could do that. Now I can't.
I can't do that either.
I can't do that. So what I've realized is, okay, what do I like to do? Well, I like to take my time. I don't want to feel stressed before going running. I want to have a coffee. So that means just getting up earlier so I have time to have my coffee, and then I do the rest of my morning routine, which is like some journaling, gratitude, mindfulness, meditation, all these things. And then usually probably 40 minutes, sometimes 1 hour has passed, and then I feel like alert enough that I can go running.
Okay.
So that's been one thing.
So just kind of setting up your morning, again, thinking in advance and basically planning so that you can actually do your run.
Yeah.
And not hate every minute, because I think that's the problem, isn't it? If you drag yourself out, are you really going to enjoy it? Whereas if you need a coffee before you go and you have one and you enjoy your run more.
Yes, and then part of the journaling is like, okay, how am I feeling right now? Checking with me. Usually, I answer this question, but I feel mad because I'm like still half asleep. But just thinking, okay, what can make me feel better? What's on my mind? And sometimes having to be really honest, like, what will make me feel better right now is probably to go on a run, because I'm going to feel accomplished that I've done it. That I'm tapping into, my why, tapping into my identity, tapping into that healthy person, and I'm going to produce some endorphins and I'm going to feel better. So that's what I need right now. So that's been also helping to realize that's the one thing that I will need. That being said, I'm flexible with it. So this morning I was thinking of going for a run, right? But I was in such a flow of kind of like sorting out my life that I was like, you know what is going to serve me right now is to continue doing this, because I'm in the flow of doing this, which is stressful, and I think that running is probably going to make me more stressed, because then I have to shower, and then I need to I want to run the couch to 5K and not necessarily cut it short because I won't want to feel stressed about my run. So I just have to do it later on today. And then again, probably it's going to be tougher. I find it difficult in the afternoon or after work. But again, tapping in my why, I said I'm going to do it today. I want to do it today, So having some flexibility, but also sometimes facing the mirror, being like, is this an excuse or not?
Yeah. Yeah, and we're all human, aren't we?
Exactly.
We can't be perfect every morning. Sometimes you do need that line.
Yes. And sometimes, this morning I was like, oh, come on, it's Sunday. Let's wake up a bit later,
Recently you had like a 30 days where you really focused on all of these things. And I think that's probably where the Couch to 5K came from. What have you learned most about yourself, and what do you think are the bits that you'll continue, hopefully, past that 30 days of looking after yourself a bit better?
Well, the first thing that I've realized is that healing is a journey that should not have a deadline. You actually need to enjoy the journey and not the destination. And having this realization is also what has helped me getting back into fitness. Because a lot of the program, quite rightfully, that are being out there have a limited period. This is an 8-week program, this is a 12-week program, this is a 30-day challenge, And I realized, no, I don't want to be fit. I don't want to be running for 30 days. I don't want to be running for 8 weeks. I'm a runner. I want to be running until I'm 60.
That's what they need. They need like a 50-year plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So realizing that it didn't have to be in a certain time frame, it didn't have to be constricted, actually gave a lot of release. It's okay to not have it perfect. It's okay to not do perfectly this 8-week program. It's for life.
Yeah. I guess that really goes back to the why of running. So if you are running for a race, fair enough, commit to your training program and you'll get hopefully to your end goal. But if it's just for, I say just, I don't mean just, but if it's for fitness or enjoyment, plans are great, I think, to keep you accountable and motivated, but you don't need to think, I have to do every single part of this plan perfectly, because at the end of the day, you're doing this plan to keep you fit and healthy and run hopefully for life.
Exactly.
Well into your old age. So you can have like a rolling plan in your head and just be happy with what you can achieve.
Yes.
each step.
And sometimes a plan can be great. You have the structure, you see your end goal, but then what? And I've done that so many times, this whole stop start. I would train for half marathon and it's like, oh, there's no race. Okay, well, why am I running?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, stop, and then find another race. Okay, let's start again, And obviously now so many races are being cancelled.
Yeah, it's really been a chance to, I think, for everyone to reflect on why they're doing something. And I imagine for a lot of people it was to kind of get outdoors, get some time away from working at home, look after their bodies because, we couldn't go to the gym or things like that.
So yeah, part of this 30 days to self-love realization has been, it's not 30 days.
Life isn't made of 30-day chunks, yeah. One weird question for you. Savoury porridge.
Have you tried it?
No, it sounds awful.
No.
I saw your savoury porridge. I thought it sounded awful, but I thought I should ask you about it and decide whether I should give it a go.
I think you should. Look, I'm such a savoury person.
Okay.
I would choose like fat, carb and salt over sugar.
Really?
Yes.
That's the opposite to me.
No, I'm really like, when I have cravings, I don't think I would ever crave, I crave chocolate right now. Like I would crave savoury things. And I'm not sure what I did that day. And I don't think it's come from me. I think, you know what, actually, I think it probably comes from Hazel Wallace, the food medic. I'm pretty sure she had done something like this with oats. And I thought that I would like give it a go, and it works really well.
So what kind of things do you put in porridge to make it savoury?
So if you just think about it, it's the oats that becomes quite creamy the way you cook it, and then I always put some stock, so it can be chicken stock or vegetable stock. So this way,
honestly making me feel sick.
So this way it has, because otherwise it's quite bland. So you do need to season it. Otherwise it's going to be very bland. And then I would like maybe do like half a grated courgette, because that doesn't taste like anything, but it's quite nutrient dense.
Okay.
And that's it.
And is it for breakfast or is it?
No, maybe for brunch, or if I'm really lazy that I don't know what to cook. This is what I'm waiting for my food shop or something like that, because I would always have oats in my house.
I'm still not sold, but thanks for explaining anyway. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I think your journey into running particularly, I had no idea about that. I found that really interesting. Is there anything you want to add?
What do I want to add? Maybe, I would let you reflect like I did. Is your ego getting into the way, like, are you stopping yourself from going on a run because it's not going to be exactly 30 minutes, but you have 25 minutes? And the other question that maybe I would encourage you to ask yourself is, who are you measuring against? Like, who chose that you had to run that certain race or that certain distance in a certain time? Running is obviously a very individual sport. You can do it collectively, but at the end of the day, it's also very individual. So instead of looking at random time target, just set your own. Be better against yourself, not some random people that decided you had to run a marathon in less than 4 hours. Yeah,
and I think that feeds back into the ego thing again, doesn't it? We always probably put too much pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, because I'm sure that you will have complained to people, this race was not good, or this time was not good, and people are like, what are you saying?
Or
you went on a run,
I don't care.
Amazing. Or I don't care.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Amy. I enjoyed it so much.
Thanks to Lauren for coming on the podcast today. It definitely made me think a bit about the things I can improve when it comes to staying motivated and not letting excuses get in the way. Lauren is currently taking a year out of training to focus on lots of exciting projects. So if you'd like to follow her, then you can search at Dr Lauren _ on Instagram. I'll be back next week with another episode of the podcast, and you can follow along by searching at Marathon Medic or visiting marathonmedic.com. See you next week.